Forget the old school idea that you need hundreds of acres, millions of dollars in debt, and a whole fleet of giant tractors just to make a living in agriculture. No way. We're going to look at a highly structured, data-driven strategy to take a single acre, using surprisingly low-cost startup steps, by the way, and turn it into a thriving six-figure business.
All right, let's just dive right into this. $100,000. Take a second and think about that number. That's the annual revenue you can pull from just a quarter of an acre of land. A quarter of an acre. We're talking about 1,000 square meters. And there are pioneering urban farmers out there, folks like Curtis Stone, who are hitting that exact revenue without owning a single piece of heavy machinery. Actually, scratch that, a lot of them don't even own the land they farm on. They're literally just leasing or borrowing their neighbors' backyards. You see, you can try to make more money by working way more land, or you can make a higher profit by planting smarter. And the absolute fastest way to plant smarter is by drilling down into a super specific strategy. So to get to those six-figure margins, we need a massive mindset shift from conventional farming. The old model, it's literally a race to the bottom. Growing basic commodities like corn or wheat, trying to compete on bulk yield and stressing over cheap global prices. Yeah, we aren't doing that. Instead, we're carving out a highly specific sliver of the market by solving a specific problem for a specific customer. This is the micro-niche strategy. You don't want to be just a farmer, you want to be the local edible flower supplier that all the high-end chefs rave about, or the organic herbal pet treat expert. You've got to stop trying to feed everybody and start specializing. Now, consider the approach from places like New Terra Farm. This is absolutely crucial. Their marketing doesn't just list out vegetables and herbs. Instead, they explicitly highlight their natural, sustainable practices and family-owned roots. As they put it, they are selling trustworthiness, food safety, and promoting good health. They are selling meaning, connection, and a story. Sure, the big industrial farms sell raw commodities, but small farms like us, we sell an identity. You're selling your customers the feeling of connecting back to the land, the pride of supporting local business, and honestly, the peace of mind that comes with safe, healthy food. And because we're selling a story, it completely flips how we price our products. Successful small farms do not compete on price. No way. They compete on value and perception. Let's say your cost to grow and package a jar of herbal finishing salt is $4. You could just slap a generic herbal salt label on there and sell it for a tiny, tiny markup. Or you craft a premium identity. You call it Chef's Garden Finishing Salt Limited Harvest Edition. Suddenly, boom, you can sell it for $20. You're practically an alchemist, turning dirt into gold. When you anchor your price to an emotional benefit and a high-end identity, you're charging based on the transformation you provide, rather than just the physical weight of the product. Okay, so how do we physically pull off these kinds of profit margins on such a tiny patch of dirt? Well, we use bio-intensive farming. We're effectively treating your farm not as just a passive piece of land, but as a high-turnover economic engine. Basically, you sow and plant much, much more densely than the back of a typical seed packet tells you to. By doing this, you practically eliminate the open space where weeds love to grow, which totally slashes your labor time. And to calculate your potential profit increase, just think about it like this. If a standard spaced row yields $10 worth of carrots, bio-intensive density eliminates all that wasted space and multiplies that single row's yield by 3 or 4 times. You're drastically maximizing the value of every single square foot. And this brilliant concept works wonders in practice. By using every square inch to its absolute highest capacity, the canopy of the crops entirely covers the soil. Literally, the only bare dirt you see on this entire farm are the narrow walkways you need just to access the plants. Master market gardeners, guys like J.M. Fortier, use this exact bio-intensive spacing to generate massive, massive volume on incredibly small footprints. But here's the catch, and it's a crucial point. You can't extract that much volume from the earth without putting something substantial back in. To sustain bio-intensive farming, we have to add thick, heavy layers of compost to build soil fertility and give those densely packed plants the heavy nutrition they desperately need. We're talking about applying a solid 2 inches, or about 5 centimeters, of compost per bed right at the start of the season, and then adding even more between every single crop rotation. And hey, here's a fun bonus micro-niche idea for you. If you create high-end, biologically active compost yourself, you can actually package and sell the excess at premium pricing as living soil. Now, moving right along, the magic number for your farm's velocity is 4. That right there is the number of different crops we are rotating through a single growing bed in just one single season. We aren't doing that old school thing where you plant once in the spring and just wait around until the fall to harvest. We are continuously cycling to keep production high year-round.
We literally use time to our supreme advantage by employing a high rotation planting method. The real secret here is to flip the beds the exact same day. Think about it like an assembly line. You harvest your mature crop in the morning, you immediately prep the bed and add your compost, and then you replant the next succession crop that very same afternoon. By stacking these successions tightly together like that, a single 50-foot-long bed can generate up to $1,600 in revenue in just 1 year. It's a relentless engine of constant production. But look, because we're working so fast, efficient infrastructure is everything. By standardizing our farm layout to identical 75-centimeter beds, we can use simple, highly specialized manual hand tools designed specifically for that width. We're talking precision seeders and specialized hoes that turn what used to be hours of back-breaking weeding into mere minutes of light work. And to support this high rotation and achieve high profit margins year-round, you have to automate your resources. For instance, you can build super simple, low-cost, solar-powered irrigation systems. By using lined collection pans to catch and store rainwater and hooking up a basic solar-powered pump, you guarantee a totally consistent water supply for those thirsty, densely packed beds, all without racking up a massive utility bill. Of course, all this amazing efficiency means absolutely nothing if you're growing the wrong things. You've got to stop growing 90 different random vegetables just for the fun of it and focus purely on the heavy hitters, like the top 10 high-value crops for small farms. We're talking saffron, specialty mushrooms, ginseng, microgreens, lavender, garlic, elderberries, stevia, blueberries, and hops. Now, just 1 acre of saffron, they call it red gold for a reason, can gross over $60,000. Sure, it's super labor-intensive because you need 75,000 flowers just to produce a single pound of dried spice, but the payoff? Astronomical. Or look at specialty mushrooms and microgreens. Those can generate tens of thousands of dollars in cycles of just weeks, not months. You just have to choose your crop strategically. So how do you prioritize which of those lucrative crops to actually plant? Well, successful growers use what's called a crop value rating system. You have to relentlessly track the time you spend growing, harvesting, and washing a crop against the actual cash it puts in your pocket at the market. Let's say a crop takes up valuable bed space for 3 whole months, demands constant weeding, and then only sells for $2 a bunch. It gets booted off the farm, no exceptions. Every single seed you plant has to justify its space and your time. But wait, before you even buy a single one of those carefully selected seeds, you have to validate your market demand. This is a non-negotiable rule of micro-niche farming. You run a pilot test. Just mock up a nice photo of your imagined product. Maybe it's a beautiful organic garlic braid or a specialty microgreen smoothie box. You post it on social media with a real price tag, and you ask for pre-orders. If people bite and the demand is validated, awesome, start planting. If it's crickets, well, you pivot. Doing this step completely eliminates the massive risk of growing something that nobody actually wants to buy. A huge part of that pre-planning is figuring out exactly who your customer is by asking critical market analysis questions long before you ever break ground. The real secret to making a great living on a small plot is going direct to consumer. Whether you're setting up at a local farmer's market, running a CSA subscription box, or building direct relationships with local restaurants, selling direct means you capture 100% of the retail profit margin. You aren't losing half of your hard-earned cash to a wholesale distributor. In this model, you are the grower, you're the marketer, and you're the retailer, the whole shebang. Well, my friend, our mentorship session is coming to a close today. We've officially busted the myth that you need expensive farmland, millions of dollars in debt, and massive tractors just to make it in agriculture. With intense focus, high-rotation bio-intensive beds, and a deep understanding of your micro-niche customer, a tiny footprint can absolutely yield a fantastic living. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought to chew on. If pioneers out there are making 6 figures just by borrowing their neighbors' backyards, what is stopping you from looking at your nearest patch of grass and turning it into a profitable micro farm today? Get out there, run a test, and start growing.